Hey, what's up guys? John here. Do you want to know the exact date that the US economy is going to head off a cliff? I'm going to give it to you in this video. I'm going to break down exactly what's going on. Even billionaire investor Ray Dalio, who's one of the most successful investors of our generation. I mean, he's worth $20 billion. He started from nothing, founded Bridgewater and Associates. In 2013, it was the most successful hedge fund in the world. And he's warning of massive problems coming right down the road. But I'm going to break down exactly what's going on for you that he's not talking about and show you some clear evidence as to when this is actually going to hit the fan so you can position yourself to take advantage of what I think is going to be the greatest wealth transfer of our lifetime over the next couple of years. Please hit the like button. YouTube will share the content to educate other people about what's really going on. And if you want to position yourself for massive success during 2024 and 2025, this is going to be the biggest transfer of assets in our lifetime. If you want to position yourself, you're going to need exceptional credit. If you have credit issues, maybe late payments, medical bills, collections, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, if you have any issues on your report, don't just ignore it. All you're going to do is put yourself in a situation to where soon you're going to see incredible opportunities. You're going to want to invest. You're going to want to do things. You're going to apply for a credit, a loan, a credit card. You're going to apply and you're going to get denied if you have bad credit. Don't put yourself in that situation. Take care of it now. At least get some free advice. Book a free strategy session below. We'll tell you exactly what it'll look like to fix your credit, answer any questions that you may have, and then you can sit on it. You can think about it. You can make a informed decision based on what's really going on and the real facts of your situation rather than just ignoring it and letting one of the greatest wealth transfers of all time pass you by. Go to greatcreditfast.com, click the link below, schedule a free strategy session. Take a look at this. So, billionaire investor Ray Dalio warns impending U.S. debt crisis. Given the debt levels, Dalio's apprehensions include a scenario where the crisis could potentially push economic growth dangerously close to zero, fluctuating within a narrow range of 1% to 2%. He goes on to kind of talk about what he sees happening in this country. Dalio asserts during an interview and urged lawmakers to address the crisis with utmost urgency. The dire prediction comes at a time when the nation's debt levels skyrocketed, crossing a monumental $33 trillion mark for the first time this month in September, as lawmakers grappled with negotiations over a U.S. spending bill. The impending October 1st deadline has heightened the stakes, and so they got the 45-day extension. But here's what's happening now with student loans. Student loans are now due. October 1st, they're due. And they say, but now months after student loans become part of the deal to avert U.S. debt default, tens of millions of Americans are set to resume payments for the first time in 3.5 years. The number, 40 million Americans. 40 million Americans have bills, new bills today that they weren't paying on before. Most were not paying on before. So if this is the case, 45.3 million borrowers to be specific, if this situation is $284, which it is, $284 for bachelor's degrees, $584 a month for masters. So let's just call it a flat $400 as an average, $400. This means right now nearly 4 in 10 Americans lack enough money to cover $400 in emergency expense. So how are they, 40% of Americans, how are they going to be able to make this payment, $400, every single month going forward? Odds are they're not, right? So what's ultimately going to happen? People are going to start making decisions. Who am I going to pay? Am I going to pay Visa and MasterCard and American Express? Am I going to pay my landlord? Am I going to pay the utilities? Am I going to pay student loans? Am I going to pay my car payment? They're going to start to prioritize their bills based on what they must pay. And because of that, you're going to start seeing a lot more delinquencies. Some people will choose credit cards. Some people will choose their landlord. Some people will choose their auto loan. But what's ultimately going to happen is delinquencies are going to start to mount, and they're going to start to mount in the next 30 days. So come November, you're going to start seeing a lot more delinquencies, November 1st. And then December 1st, utility bills are going to continue to pick up. And then holiday spending, travel, gifts. What's ultimately going to happen? By January 1, we're going to start seeing a wave of serious delinquent borrowers, 90 days or more. And so look at how this kind of plays out. Banks are already tightening lending standards for small businesses. An increasing share of banks have stiffened their requirements for businesses trying to secure a loan or credit line. A net 49.2% of banks reported tightening their lending standards for small firms with less than $50 million in annual sales. According to the last quarter Federal Reserve Senior Loan Officer Opinion Survey released on Monday, that measure is up 48.3% recorded in April, 43.7% in January. The heightened standard include a maximum size and maturity of credit lines, loan covenants, and collateralized requirements. The change in lending standards over the past 3 months was most pronounced among the regional and community lenders that serve primarily credit providers to small businesses. Of these non-large banks, 48.2% reported increasing lending standards for small firms, up from 43.4% in April. Right, so they're already starting to tighten up on a lot of small businesses. But we have to look at how this is going to start to play out for the average consumer, because the average consumer is who owns small businesses. So for rent, for example, 2019, the average apartment in America, it was $1,474, right? Well, now the average apartment is $1,702. So essentially a $250 per month increase in rent from 2019, from essentially right before everything got canceled, or, well, it got extended, it got paused. That was how much people were paying. So it was an extra $250 a month tax that consumers are now paying, yet wages have softened. On top of that, the average new car payment, $716 a month. Used car, $526. Going back to 2019, a new car payment was $556 and a used car was $365. So for context, you could finance a new car in 2019 for the same price you're financing a used car today. And insurance rates on these vehicles have skyrocketed as well. And on top of that, grocery, you're already starting to see grocery bills really start to stack up. Inflation starting to pick up. People are becoming more dependent on credit cards. Gas prices were $2.12 in 2019. Now they're $3.50. Well, if you live in California, you're probably closer to $7 a gallon. But you're starting to see some really big increases across the board. And now all of these consumers are starting to get hit, and they're leaning more and more on credit cards. If you look at where consumer debt was, and let's call it 2019, mid-2019, you're looking around $830 billion. Now it's well over $1 trillion in credit card debt. But very fascinatingly, back then, the average interest rate on a credit card was about 15%, ranging between 13.7 and 16.9%. So call it a flat 15%. Now the average interest rate, 28.05%. So for context, you owe $10,000 on this credit card bill, right? Because a lot of people that have these student loan bills are going to start leaning more on credit cards. And so let's just call it a flat $10,000 bill. That would mean that you would pay $5,791.15 in interest, and it would take 6 years and 7 months to pay it off, right? So you basically pay 50% of this balance just towards interest. But if you look at today's interest rate at 28.05%, and you pay the same monthly payment of $200, they won't allow you. You'll have to make a bigger payment of about $233.75, right? So when you look at the same amount, you'll go from $5,700 to, let's see, $233.75. We'll just go $240. So you'll make the same exact payment. If you add $40 to it, and you'll go from $5,700 in interest to $27,000 in interest. So you'll basically pay this off 2.7 times just in interest, and then pay the principal back. And it will take 13 years and 2 months. So when people look at what's actually happening in the economy, they go outside, everything seems completely fine. But this is now going to start to ramp up during the winter months. And we're walking into some really challenging times. And during these challenging times, you're going to start to see a lot of money, a lot of wealth, a lot of assets transfer hands. Whether we like it, whether we don't like it, facts are the facts. This is what's happening in this society. We're getting pushed. The middle class is getting pushed to their knees. People really need to pay very close attention to this. This student loan problem, I believe, is going to be one of the biggest curveballs to hit this economy. And it's coming right during the winter months. It's coming right at the peak season where $2 trillion in corporate debt has to get refinanced starting next year, meaning more layoffs are going to start to occur. You're going to start seeing a lot more problems in this economy. So my advice is, if you are renting right now, if you are in a situation where maybe it's not the best situation and you want to fix it, the time to do that is going to be right now. 2024, 2025, if you make some really smart decisions right now, you'll be able to put yourself in a great spot over the next couple of years, a great spot. So don't let this, don't ignore this. Don't ignore this situation. America's going through some really, really tough times. Bank lending is going to really contract. If you have high interest rate credit card debt, there's a bunch of 0% APR balance transfer credit cards out there that you can apply for to kind of push this high interest credit card debt onto these 0% APR cards. But you need good credit to be able to get approved for these cards. 730, 740 credit score is where you want to be when you're applying for these cards. So if you have any credit questions, if you're interested in possibly fixing credit, maybe you have some negative derogatory items on your credit report, we'd love to help you. We'd love to give you a free strategy session. You can book a call below, see how we can help you. Drop your comments below as well. We'll have a conversation about this, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.